and 11 workwear designed to give you more. More comfort, more style, more function, and more value. Official clothing partner of the Chopperoos and the Still Timbersports Australian Series. And Still Timbersports, a proud major partner of the Movember Foundation, Stop Men Dying Young. Previously, Australia's Still Timbersports rookie champion Dan Gurr arrived in Europe for the Chopperoos training camp. He was put through his paces.
Good mate, keep it flat, come on, keep it flat.
He readied himself and travelled to Marseille, France to take on the best Still Timbersports rookies in the world.
Daniel Gurr was very quick on the start.
At the first discipline in his campaign, his stock score result was less than 1 second off the winning time.
Like the Alpine's caught up and he's beaten him just by a notch.
But that puts Dan into 5th position overall on the leaderboard as we head into the next event, the standing block. The standing block is the second axe event of the day where athletes slay at least 50% of the front side before traversing and turning to remove the back half, finalising their hit patterns with ripping overhand drives.
All right, so our first heat pairing for the standing block chop, it looks like it's going to be the same pairing that we started off the day with. Thomas Henderson this time will be on the A side, Lucas Schott on the B side. You see a lot of time goes into finding exactly where a person's going to stand, and these axes are incredibly sharp. You need to have precision and absolute endurance here.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Thomas Henderson has a couple of good hits, but he got his axe caught in there. Lucas Schott trying to catch up. Who's going to go over to the other side first? It looks like it's going to be Henderson. Lucas Schott trying to go a bit deeper on his first side. Now, Thomas working the backside of his block. Lucas Schott getting some good hits, and those blocks are flying away. The pieces of wood chip absolutely flying away from those blocks. Huge hits, and that final blow by Henderson does it. Wow, a fantastic final hit. Lucas, meanwhile, trying to find the solution for this block, and finally does do it in 39.02. Thomas has time of 28.66. All right, Jan Camille Jr., Emil Hansson. Another pairing that we saw earlier, another pairing on the same positions. Jan Camille Jr., his dad also competes at the World Championship level in the pro.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right. A bit of a soft start by Emil Hansson. I'm a little bit surprised. That first swing seemed almost tender the way he approached the log, but both of the guys going around to the other side. Jan Camille Jr. definitely has a weight advantage that he can use to get as much power into that axe as possible. Oh my goodness though, Emil Hansson has the technique locked down. And we saw Jan Camille Jr.'s axe get a little bit off angle there, so that could have caused problems with the axe not really hitting in properly, as he's still working to try and get that top block off. It just doesn't want to go, and he continually gets that axe stuck. So I believe the problem here is that he just didn't take enough off the backside and didn't get the clean cuts on the front side. A time of 44.42. All right, here we go. Chas Haas from the USA, Jack Eason from Great Britain coming out on the stage next. Chas Haas actually able to set the U.S. collegiate record for this particular discipline. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Jack Eason getting a little bit caught in the wood on a couple of those hits. Meanwhile, Chaz Haas looking very good, going deep on that first one, and he is over to the other side already. Jack Eason still trying to find his rhythm and his flow. Looks like Jack is really struggling on his block, and wow, what a time for Chaz Haas. 19:03, basically obliterating the other time so far, and gives us a little air guitar on his axe. Jack Eason trying to get those last few hits, and you can see there he didn't cut through very deep on the backside. He definitely has the power. It was just a couple of those last blows that are needed to get that block off the top.
For Dan Gurr, the standing block is all important. After his 5th place in the stock sort, Dan really needs to lift in order to get back into the top placings on the leaderboard.
All right, next heat coming up, the last one in standing block. We've got Michael Delpine from Italy going up against Australia's Daniel Gurr. Now, Michael Delpine also says standing block chop is his most spectacular discipline. Let's see if that holds true. And actually, Daniel Gurr also says standing block chop, even though I'm probably smaller than most in the rookie, my technique is good enough to beat the big guys most of the time. So let's see if that will hold true. Not too far apart in age. Daniel Gurr, 19 years old, coming out of Deloraine, Tasmania in Australia. And Michael Delpine is from Meduno.
3, 2, 1, go!
One thing that we've noticed with the Australians is they are very, very good axemen. We've seen some fantastic technique from the Aussies as they come through. Now both moving over pretty much at the same time. Michael Delpine got to the backside of his log a little bit quicker, but Daniel Gurr is through in no time flat, and that is a spectacular time. 16:58, the fastest time of the day with a bullet. Wow, what a time by Daniel Gurr. That was incredible. Let's take a look back here. Daniel Gurr basically shifting from top to bottom, and then he starts to get into a flow with 2 and 2. And you can see Michael Delpine moved over to the other side, but it could be that he moved over just a little bit too early. And this final blow by Daniel is just spectacular as he's got the angle and everything just figured out.
So Dan Gurr scores the 8 points with the win in the standing block discipline. This now elevates Dan into 3rd place on the overall leaderboard, only 2 points behind the leader, Italian Michael Delpine, as he continues his run for the top spot. We are in Marseille, France for the Still Timbersports Rookie World Championship. At the halfway point of the competition, Australian Dan Gurr trails the leader Michael Delpine by only 2 points as we head into the 3rd event of the competition, the single buck. With its peg and raker system, the athlete pushes and pulls the single buck saw through a 46cm pine log. Then wedger oils the saw and drives a wedge between the cookie and trunk to help avoid friction hang-ups.
All right, so Thomas Henderson, Lucas Schott coming out against each other once again. The pairings are going to stay the same for the rest of the evening. Single buck, a very important discipline because this is the crux discipline right now. This could decide a win or a loss for a lot of the guys in the top 4 or 5 positions. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Thomas Henderson has said he's been training in the single buck, and it looks like he's been training very well because he is going through this cookie like nothing. Wow, what an incredible time there for Thomas Henderson, 10:24. Meanwhile, Lucas Schott has gotten it through in 17:75. That was a blistering time by Thomas Henderson. And you could see that technique by Thomas Henderson as he pushes through. But a great job by Thomas Henderson to keep that flow going. Now we saw Jan Camillo Jr. earlier on struggling with the standing block chop. This, however, is a discipline that he likes. Emil Hansen also says he trained a lot, like Thomas Henderson did, trained a lot for the single buck because this is a very, very difficult discipline. It appears as though our competitors are ready. Let's rock and roll.
3, 2, 1, go!
Really fast strokes by Jan Kamir Jr. Long, steady strokes by Hansson. Emil Hansson looking good here. Oh my goodness, it's really close on both of their parts. 11:23 to 11:92. Great times by both of them. Still not quite as fast as Thomas Henderson. And there we can see Jan Kamir Jr. really putting everything he's got into it. But Emil Hansson had those big, long strokes. He's a small guy, so the fact that he is able to put all of his body into that movement says exactly why he won that one. All right, now coming out onto the stage, Chaz Haas and Jack Eason. Chaz Haas from the USA had a great standing block earlier on, and Jack Eason, he was solid with the stock saw off the hop. And it looks like Chaz Haas is going to have the legend Arden Kogar helping him on the single buck today. Arden Kogar is a very strong competitor in this particular discipline, so there's probably no better man for him to learn from than Arden Kogar. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Chaz Haas having problems right away. Jack Eason also having a couple of problems though, but Jack Eason with a slight advantage here as he comes through the bottom of that stroke, and it looks like it's going to be a good time for him. 12:53 unofficially for Jack Eason. Chaz Haas with a 14:48 by virtue of a really big sawbow on the way in at the start. Checking the slow-mos here, and you can see Jack Eason just putting everything he's got into it. Not as wide a stance, but his position on the saw was great, but he managed to get through in a good time.
After putting in the effort at the training camp on the single buck, one of his weakest disciplines, Australian Dan Gurr will be hoping the effort pays off here in Marseille as he looks to build on his standing block win.
All right, next heat coming out, Michael Delpine from Italy, Daniel Gurr from Australia, and we saw Daniel Gurr with an absolutely blistering standing block chop earlier, getting a time of 16:20. That's a good 2 seconds and change faster than anybody else in the standing block. Let's see how he does in the single buck. He's a small guy. If he's got good technique here on the single buck, then he can really do well. And, you know, the Australian team has Brad DeLosa, who is an absolute legend when it comes to single bucks. So if he's going to learn from anybody, Brad DeLosa is an amazing guy to learn from. Looks like the guys are ready. Let's see how it does between the Italian Michael Delpine and the Australian Daniel Gurr.
3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, Michael Delpine getting in there fast, but he gets locked up really quick, and he had to lift up the saw to restart. Daniel Gurr keeping the flow going. He gets locked up now, and Michael Delpine manages to get through, but it looks like he twisted the disc off at the end, so that may be a problem. The judges may throw down a flag on this one. They're going to have a close look at it. It does appear to be a full disc. It's just a piece of the main block that came off with the disc. There you can see the problem. For Daniel Gurr, it was at the bottom of his stroke where he got the saw caught up and had a little bit of a bow. Yeah, right there. He just caught it up on the backstroke, and then everything was done and dusted.
Thomas Henderson from Canada takes the 8 points in the single buck, while event leader Michael Delpine only managed 5th place with Australian Dan Gurr in 6th. This result means Dan slips to 3 points off the lead, with American Chaz Haas joining him in 2nd on 15 points. Marseille, France plays host to this year's Still Timbersports Rookie World Championship. And Australian Dan Gurr is currently in equal 2nd place going into the final event, the underhand chop. The underhand chop is the final axe event of the day and resembles the old school technique of cutting felled trees down to size. After removing approximately 50% of the front side, they pirouette to the back, devastating their block with power and precision, eventually driving the wood in two.
All right, back to the action. Here we go with our first heat coming out, Thomas Henderson and Lucas Schott. He needs to have a devastatingly fast heat here in the underhand chop if he wants a chance at that, though.
3, 2, 1, go!
Lucas shot Thomas Henderson. Lucas has got great technique here as he is really working that first half of the block well. Probably get one or two more hits. No, he's going to go straight over to the other side. Thomas Henderson steps off his block. That's going to cost him time. Lucas shot passing the 20-second mark here. Thomas Henderson working on the other side of his block now. Who's going to get through first? Is it going to be power or technique? It's going to be close from the looks of it. Henderson gets his axe caught again, but Henderson gets through with sheer power, 33.66. And I bet you dollars to donuts he would have been about 5 seconds faster had he not stepped off that log and he not managed to get that axe caught a couple of times. But that's competition. That slab came off before Thomas Henderson moved over to the other side, so they wanted to make sure that that was a fair cut on the other side, and this is where he moves over. That makes it even more difficult, and that explains why he had to step off. He's basically hanging onto that log with just his toes. All right, here they come, Jan Kamir Jr. and Emil Hansson. Emil Hansson, just 17 years of age. He's one of the youngest competitors in the rookie competition, so that says a lot about the talent that is coming out of Sweden at the moment.
3, 2, 1, go!
Big swings by Emil Hansson. Quick swings by Jan Kamir Jr. He's got a really good frequency going there. Emil Hansson gets his axe hooked up. He switches the other side at the same time that Jan Kamir Jr. did. The power of Jan Kamir Jr. is definitely showing through as he's taking very fast, very short but powerful swings. But it looks like Emil Hansson got through cleanly. Will there be a flag on the play? He's even looking down at his own block. And finally, Jan Kamir Jr. gets through. There you go, a personal best for Emil Hansson and a win so far. He is leading with 22.19 in the underhand chop. All right, next athletes to come out are Chaz Haas from the USA and Jack Eason from Great Britain.
3, 2, 1, go!
Looks like a pretty evenly matched pairing here. Chaz Haas, Jack Eason. Jack Eason getting the frequency of his cuts, staying on the backside. Chaz Haas has already moved over to the front side of his block. Slight advantage, I would say, as Jack Eason seems to be having trouble finding the impact points. It almost looks like his axe is bouncing back out of the wood a little bit too easily. Chaz Haas is through at 25.76. Jack Eason having trouble getting that axe caught in that block. Needs about 3-4 more hits by the looks of it. Yeah, let's call it 2. Jack Eason's got himself a good cut on the backside, and then he just seemed to have trouble on the front side. Meanwhile, Chaz Haas, one last final blow, separates the log, and that's that. Time done.
Coming up,
This is a discipline the Australians have absolutely been dominant in.
with Dan's final discipline to go, can he claw the title away from Italian Del Pin?
Daniel looking very good here. The time might even be really solid.
Find out after the break.
Wow, the fastest time of the day.
The Rookie World Championship is coming down to the final heat of the day. Australia Dan Gurr can win the title if Italian Del Pin places 4th or lower. If he finishes in 3rd, then they will tie, and the winner will be decided on overall time in this underhand chop decider. All
right, the Rookie World Championship title is up for grabs here, and the last 2 athletes are coming out for the last heat of this year's Rookie World Championships here at the Steel Timbersports Champions Trophy. Michael Del Pin from Italy, Daniel Gurr from Australia. By the way, Daniel Gurr, the Australian, won the 2017 Australian Rookie Championship.
3, 2, 1, go!
This is a discipline the Australians have absolutely been dominant in. They've got so many good, we'll call them chopperoos. They call them themselves that. It's just amazing. Daniel moving over to the other side already. Michael Del Pin joining him there. Daniel looking very good here. The time might even be really solid for Daniel. He gets through an 18:27. Wow, the fastest time of the day. Once again, Daniel Gurr proving why technique is so important. And then finally, Michael Delpine gets through in 26:09. That puts him in 4th place. Good points for him. Daniel Gurr, meanwhile, with a top point grab on that one with an 18:27. And it appears as though there's no flag on the play at all. So it looks like everything will be good. A look back now at this heat, and you can see Michael Delpine and Daniel Gurr almost hit for hit in sync with each other. And then Michael Delpine gets hooked up, and that was the death of him on that one. Hooked up a second time, and Daniel Gurr had already moved over to the other side, and Michael Delpine finally moving over with them. But it was just the technique from Michael Delpine that was a little bit more solid and not having his axe get hooked up in the wood too easily. And that made the difference right there as he steps off the winner in this one.
The standings for the underhand chop sees Dan Gurr take the maximum 8 points. Sweden's Emil Hansen in 2nd and American Chaz Haas in 3rd. The championship leader prior to the underhand chop, Delpine, places 4th by just 0.2 of a second, which means that in the overall standings, we have a tie for the top spot with Australia's Dan Gurr and Michael Delpine both on 23 points. So what they'll do is look back at the individual times for the disciplines, and the man with the faster times will be given the World Championship title. So 3rd place is awarded to American Chaz Haas. 2nd place goes to the Italian Michael Delpine. And Australian Dan Gurr takes home the coveted Steel Timbersports Rookie World Championship title.
Fantastic. I put a lot of work into this, and you know, you only get one shot at this rookie championship, so yeah, I'm just wrapped. I can't believe it. I didn't have the best day, you know, the soaring disciplines, I've worked on them real hard and they were a bit disappointing, but yeah, just luck's fell my way and I've won. Unbelievable.
Next time, we're back in Marseille for the main event. The top pro athletes from around the world go head-to-head in the toughest Steel Timbersports competition. Can Australian Mitch Argent keep the Australian dominance alive?
Oh! Argent is the first man to do it in under a minute.
Or will 9-time world champ Jason Wynyard?
He just cut through that log like butter.
Or Canadian Sterling Hart steal his thunder?
Sterling Hart does it in just over a minute.
Tune in next time for some more Steel Timbersports action.